Listen to me. I need you to lock in for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to tell you is the difference between living a life you dream about and living a life you regret. I'm not here to give you hype. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm here because I know some of you, you're tired. Tired of starting and stopping. Tired of getting excited, making plans, writing goals down, and then watching them die halfway through. And you can't figure out why your life feels stuck, why the breakthrough never comes. It's not because you're not smart enough. It's not because you don't have talent. It's not because you don't have resources. The truth. You've been starting things your whole life, but you haven't been finishing. You don't even realize the power you're leaving on the table. You have no idea how different your life could look if you just decided, for once, I'm not quitting until it's done. You think the magic is in starting, but I'm telling you, the real transformation, the real reward is in finishing. And I need you to hear me. This isn't just another speech. This is the one you can't afford to walk away from. Because if you grab what I'm about to give you today and actually live it, you will never look at your goals the same way again. You'll stop collecting dreams and start collecting results. So I'm asking you, don't just sit there listening half-hearted. Don't just nod your head like you agree. No distractions, no excuses. Because today we're going to unlock the secret power of finishing your goals. And once you taste that, you'll never settle for unfinished again. You know what I've learned? A lot of you have the energy. You've got the drive. You've got the passion, but you're exhausted because your energy is everywhere. You wake up with fire, but you burn it out on the wrong stuff. You're working hard, but you're not working smart. And you can't figure out why you feel drained at the end of the day with nothing to show for it. Let me help you. It's because you don't have clarity. When you don't know exactly what you want, your life becomes a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. You're hustling, but there's no finish line. And you're tired not because you're weak. You're tired because you're wasting your strength on things that don't even matter to where you're trying to go. Clarity, that's the game changer. When you know exactly what you're aiming at, your energy starts working for you instead of against you. You stop trying to be everything to everybody, and you start aligning your steps with the outcome you want. You stop chasing every shiny thing, and you start making moves that count. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in the middle of a huge open field with a bow and arrow. You've got the strength to pull the string back. You've got all the arrows you need, but there's no target. You're just firing into the air, hoping it lands somewhere good. That's how most people live. They've got skills, they've got ideas, they've got energy, but no target. And when you don't have a target, you can't hit anything. And when you don't hit anything, you don't win. Clarity puts a bullseye on your life. It's not just, I want to be successful. No, what does that even mean to you? What kind of success? By when? How will you measure it? What does it look like on your calendar? What does it feel like in your daily routine? What's the number? What's the result? You've got to paint the picture so clear in your mind that you can close your eyes and see it like it's already done. Because when you've got clarity, you can start saying no to the stuff that doesn't serve you. And I know some of you hate saying no. You feel like you're missing out. Let me tell you, you're not missing out when you're locked in on the thing you were meant to do. You're not missing out when you're protecting your energy for your real mission. You're winning. You're getting closer to the finish. Some of you keep asking, why do I start strong but fade out? It's because your goal was blurry from the start. If you start with a blurry picture, your brain doesn't even know where to aim. You can't commit to something you can't see clearly. But the moment you sharpen the image, the moment you know what's at stake, something shifts inside you. Your decisions change. Your priorities change. You start moving with intention. And here's the thing. Clarity is not just knowing what you want. It's knowing why you want it. If your why isn't strong, your vision will fade the moment life throws a punch. You'll start negotiating with yourself. Maybe I don't need it that bad. Maybe I'll try again next year. But when your why is connected to something deep, your family's future, your calling, your legacy, quitting stops being an option. When you have clarity, you can push through storms other people would drown in. You can say no to opportunities that look good, but don't fit your direction. You can ignore distractions that are stealing your time because you've got a GPS in your spirit pointing you straight to the goal. And the best part, you stop wasting years climbing the wrong ladder. Listen, I've seen people work themselves into the ground on the wrong thing for years and then wonder why it never paid off. They didn't fail because they were lazy. They failed because they were aiming at nothing and hitting it every single day. But when you lock in on the right target, you start waking up with a different energy. You know exactly why you're getting out of bed. You know exactly what that next meeting is for. You know exactly why you're learning that skill. Every move you make is a step toward the finish line. And that's when your effort starts multiplying instead of draining. And don't think clarity is a one-time decision. You can't just set a goal in January and expect to be locked in all year without checking back in. Life will throw distractions at you. People will try to pull you into their plans. Opportunities will come that look good but don't serve your path. That's why you've got to keep your goal in front of you daily. On your wall, in your phone, in your journal, in your mind. Remind yourself what you're chasing and why. Here's what I know. When you get clarity, you stop running in circles and start moving in a straight line. You stop feeling burnout from doing 100 little things and start feeling powerful from doing the one thing that matters most. You stop reacting to life and start creating the life you want. You can't finish what you haven't defined. But once you define it, once you make it crystal clear in your heart and in your mind, you'll be shocked how much faster you move. You'll be shocked how much lighter the load feels when you know exactly where you're carrying it. And one day, you'll look back and realize that one moment of clarity was the turning point that changed everything. Because when your energy finally has direction, finishing is no longer a miracle. It's the only possible outcome. If you want, I can immediately roll into key point 2 with the same unstoppable momentum, so the speech stays seamless and high impact. Some of you keep waiting for that perfect day, that perfect moment, that perfect spark of motivation to hit you so you can finally get moving. But hear me, motivation is overrated. It's emotional. It's temporary. It comes and it goes. You can't build a life on something that fades every time you get tired, stressed, or distracted. Consistency is the real engine. It's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you do no matter how you feel. It's about showing up when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when nobody's clapping, when it doesn't feel like it's working. That's the separator. Everybody can show up on the days they feel good. That's easy. But champions, finishers, game changers, they show up on the ugly days. They show up when the weather's bad, when their mood is low, when life is hitting them from all sides. And you know what's crazy? Those are the days that count the most because they prove to you that your commitment is bigger than your comfort. Motivation can get you started, but consistency is what takes you to the finish line. Think about it. You don't get in shape because you went to the gym once and felt pumped. You get in shape because you kept going when the soreness hit, when you didn't feel like moving, when progress seemed invisible. You don't build a business because you worked hard one week. You build it because you showed up day after day, even when sales were slow, even when people doubted you, even when you doubted yourself. Some of you keep wondering why nothing's changing in your life. It's because you're too loyal to your feelings and not loyal enough to your goals. You're committed when it's easy, but the moment it gets hard, you start negotiating with yourself. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Maybe I need a break. But let me tell you something. If you only show up when it's convenient, you'll never reach anything worth having. Consistency is about discipline, and discipline is about decisions. You decide once that this is what you're going to do, and then you follow through every single day, whether you feel like it or not. You stop asking yourself, do I want to? And you start saying it's on the schedule, so it's happening. Your feelings stop making the calls, and your commitment starts running the show. And here's the beauty of consistency. It compounds. The small steps you take every day stack up. You don't always see it right away, but the progress of building behind the scenes, every rep, every practice, every page you write, every call you make, it's adding up. You don't get a harvest the same day you plant the seed, but if you water it every day, the growth becomes unstoppable. And let me be real, there will be days you see no results, days where you'll think, why am I even doing this? That's where most people quit. But if you can keep going through that dry season, you'll cross into the season where all the work you did suddenly pays off. People will call you lucky, but they didn't see you grinding in the shadows, staying consistent when nothing was moving. The truth is, you don't need more hype. You need habits. Hype favorites. Habits stay. The moment something becomes a habit, you don't waste energy deciding if you're going to do it. You just do it. And the more you repeat the right action, the stronger your discipline gets. Discipline is a muscle, and the only way to build it is by using it daily. You've got to stop living like your goals are optional. Stop treating your dream like it's some side project you'll do when you have time. No, you make time. You build your life around it. You make it non-negotiable. Consistency means your goals are the priority, not an afterthought. And don't confuse consistency with perfection. You're going to have off days. You're going to mess up sometimes. But the win is in getting back up immediately, not letting one missed day turn into a missed week, and a missed week turn into a missed month. Consistency isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. Some of you need to hear this. The breakthrough you're waiting for isn't on the other side of some big, dramatic, overnight change. It's on the other side of boring, ordinary, unglamorous daily effort. It's in making the call when you'd rather watch TV. It's in practicing your craft when nobody's watching. It's in waking up early when you'd rather hit snooze. You want to finish, then stop relying on how you feel. Feelings say, do it later. Feelings say, take it easy. Consistency says, do it now. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again the day after that. And one day, you'll look back and realize you've built something incredible. Not because you had a burst of inspiration, but because you refused to break the chain. I'm telling you, the day you learn to be consistent without needing to feel motivated is the day you become unstoppable. Because nothing, no setback, no bad day, no mood can take you off course. You're locked in. You're committed. And that's when finishing stops being a possibility and starts being inevitable. Because when you show up every day, even without the hype, you'll always cross the line. If you want, I can now roll straight into key point 3 so your speech flows like one continuous, hard-hitting message without breaks in energy. That way your audience stays hooked all the way through. He's key point 3, progress fuels confidence, expanded into a full 1,000-word, high-energy, seamless speech flow in the style you want. You know what's crazy? Most people are waiting until they reach the finish line to feel confident. They're holding back thinking, once I hit the goal, once I have the title, once I get the result, then I'll believe in myself. But that's backwards. Confidence doesn't magically appear at the end. Confidence grows as you move. It builds with progress. Every step forward tells you, I can do this. Every little win whispers, I'm not who I used to be. And some of you are doubting yourself right now because you haven't moved yet. You're sitting there thinking about all the reasons you might fail, but you've got no evidence to prove to yourself you can win. And that's because evidence comes from action. You can read all the books, watch all the videos, take all the notes. But until you start stacking those small wins, your belief will stay weak. Here's the truth. Progress, even the smallest kind, is fuel. It's like putting logs on a fire. At first, the flame is small. It's fragile. You're not sure if it'll last. But every time you hit a small milestone, every time you check something off, that flame gets stronger. You start walking different. You start talking different. Not because the world changed, but because you're proving to yourself that you're capable. That's why I tell people, stop waiting for perfect conditions to start. Just move. Do something small, and then do it again tomorrow. Build momentum. You'll be shocked how much your mind shifts once you got proof. And that proof doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be consistent. Maybe you want to run a marathon, but you've never jogged more than a block. You don't wait until you feel like an athlete. You put on your shoes, run that block, then the next day you run 2. That's progress. And that progress will make you believe. And here's the part most people miss. Progress is not just about skill. It's about identity. Every time you move forward, you stop seeing yourself as the old you and start seeing yourself as the kind of person who gets it done. You stop identifying with failure and you start identifying with growth. And once your identity changes, finishing becomes a whole different game. But some of you sabotage your own confidence because you refuse to celebrate the small wins. You think they don't count until you've reached the big goal. Let me tell you something. If you ignore the small wins, you starve your confidence. You rob yourself of the fuel you need to keep going. Every victory matters. Every little step forward deserves acknowledgement. Not because you're done, but because you're building the strength to finish. Progress also exposes the lie that you can't do it. At the start, the voice in your head will tell you it's too hard, you're not ready, you're not good enough. But every bit of progress turns down that volume. You realize, hold on, I can actually do this. And once you've seen yourself move forward, it's almost impossible to go back to believing you can't. Let's be real. The hardest part is the beginning. That's when your confidence is at its lowest and your doubt is at its highest. But the only way to flip that ratio is to take action and let progress do the talking. You can't think your way into belief. You have to move your way into it. And it's not just about the big visible wins. Progress can be as simple as being more consistent than you were last month. It can be making one better decision than you did yesterday. It can be showing up one more time when you wanted to quit. Those moments add up. They become proof. And proof is what builds an unshakable confidence. Some of you have been living at the mercy of your doubts for years. You've been letting fear set the limits. And the reason fear is winning is because you've given it no reason to lose. You've been standing still, which means fear has no competition. But the moment you start making progress, fear starts shrinking. It starts losing its grip because now you've got evidence on your side. That's the beauty of progress. It's not about getting close to the goal. It's about transforming you while you get there. You become stronger, more resilient, more certain. You stop asking, can I do this? And you start saying, I am doing this. And here's what's wild. Once confidence kicks in, you start moving faster. That's why you see people who seem stuck for years suddenly make massive leaps. It's not that they suddenly became more talented or got more resources. It's that they started making progress, which built their belief, and that belief lit a fire under their actions. Progress creates confidence, and confidence creates more progress. It's a cycle, but you've got to get it started. The danger is when you delay action because you think you need confidence first. If you sit around waiting to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Confidence is not the starting point. It's the result. And the only way to get it is to move. Even if you're scared, even if you're unsure, even if your voice shakes and your hands tremble, move anyway. Because here's the truth. The day you take your first step is the day you start becoming a finisher. You may not see it yet, but every inch forward is proof you're on the way. And as you collect that proof day after day, you'll find that the person you're becoming is stronger than the person who started. So stop waiting to feel confident before you begin. Begin so you can feel confident. Every little bit of progress you make will stack up. And one day you'll look back at the trail behind you and realize the fire in you now is because you kept moving when you didn't believe. Because progress isn't just movement toward the goal. It's the transformation that makes finishing inevitable. If you want, I can take key point 4 next and give it the same 1,000 word treatment so the entire speech closes in a way that hits with maximum emotional and motivational impact. That would make the whole thing one continuous powerhouse delivery. There's something that happens when you finish. And I'm not talking about just crossing something off a list. I'm talking about closing the loop. I'm talking about that moment when you said you were going to do something and you actually did it. No matter how hard, no matter how long it took, no matter how many times you wanted to quit. When you finish something and you change it forever. Because finishing isn't just about the result. It's about the transformation that happens inside you during the journey. You start to see yourself differently. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. You stop identifying with the version of you that starts and quits, and you step into the identity of a finisher. And that identity is powerful because it follows you into every part of your life. See, the thing most people don't understand is that every goal you finish becomes a foundation for the next one. Every time you prove to yourself you can close something out, you expand your capacity. You raise your standard. You realize, if I could do that, I can do more. And that more becomes possible because you've already built the muscle of seeing things through. Think about it. The world is full of people who start. Starting is easy. Starting is exciting. Starting feels good. But finishing, that's rare. That's special. That's why when you finish, doors start opening that weren't open before. People start trusting you with bigger opportunities. They start seeing you as dependable, as someone who delivers, as someone who's worth investing in. And it's not just about how others see you. It's about how you see yourself. The confidence you get from finishing one thing gives you the courage to go after something even bigger. You stop aiming small. You stop playing safe. You start asking, what else can I do? What else can I build? What's the next level? And because you've already finished before, you don't just dream about it. You start moving toward it with certainty. Here's the thing. Finishing is a habit, just like quitting is a habit. Some of you have trained yourself to stop when it gets hard, and now it's automatic. The minute the excitement wears off, you start looking for an exit. But if you can train yourself to finish, if you can make it your standard to close out what you start, that habit will carry you through challenges you can't even imagine yet. And here's what's wild. Once you start finishing, the things that used to intimidate you won't scare you anymore. That business you thought was too big, you'll go for it. That degree you thought would take too long, you'll commit to it. That project you thought was beyond your skill, you'll dive in because finishing something hard once rewires your brain. It tells you, I've done it before, I can do it again. But you'll never experience that shift if you keep quitting halfway. Every time you quit, you teach yourself that you can't trust your own word. You weaken your belief in yourself. You make the next quit easier. And that's dangerous because once quitting becomes your pattern, it's hard to break. When you finish, you build integrity with yourself. You prove that your word means something, not just to other people, but to you. And when you believe your own word, you become unstoppable. You don't need constant encouragement. You don't need people cheering for you. You know, you get it done because that's who you are now. And let's be real. Finishing isn't always pretty. Sometimes you crawl over the line. Sometimes you cross it beat up, tired, and drained. But you still cross it. And when you do, the feeling is worth every ounce of effort. Because now you've got something no one can take from you. The proof that you finish what you start. That proof changes how you approach everything. You stop doubting whether you can handle challenges. You stop wondering if you're ready. You know you're ready because you got history with yourself. You've got receipts. You've done it before. And that proof is what allows you to take on the next goal with more confidence, more speed, and more belief than ever before. Finishing also separates you from the crowd. Most people give up. Most people settle. Most people walk away when it's uncomfortable. But when you're the one who stays, when you're the one who pushes through, you stand out. And standing out is what gets you noticed, respected, and rewarded. But the real reward is internal. It's knowing you didn't back down. It's knowing you fought all the way to the end. It's knowing you turned potential into reality. That's the kind of satisfaction money can't buy. And once you taste it, you'll never want to go back to the old way of living. And here's the thing. Finishing one goal doesn't just give you a win. It gives you a launch pad. It takes you to a new level where the challenges are bigger, but so are the rewards. They'll realize this is the life I was meant to live. Not stuck in the cycle almost, but living in the rhythm of done. That's so whatever you're working on right now, make the decision, not the hope, the decision that you will see it through, that you will cross that line, no matter how long it takes or how messy it gets. Because once you finish, you won't just get the result. You'll unlock the next version of yourself, the stronger version, the braver version, the unstoppable version. And once you meet that version of yourself, you'll never go back.